Welcome to another edition of tutorials on how we tackle this Unit 2 database unit, also known as Unit 2 Creating Systems to Manage Information, which is the BTEC Information Technology Level 3 course by BTEC. On this video, I'll be showing you how you can approach Activity 3C. Now, the good thing, if you are comfortable with Activity 3B, you will be comfortable with Activity 3C. So the first example that we are going to start off with is the June 2022 paper. So you need to create a report when you're doing Activity 3C. As part of that report, you do it in this sequence. You create the query first, then you create the report after. That's the method that I know. You might find other methods from other YouTubers. Find the one that works for you. I don't know. I'm not going to be offended if you pick someone else. I'm happy if you find something that works for you. So we create the query first. We go to create, query design, and as always, you save the name of the query using the naming convention. QRY. We only need to use the figure 1 table. Okay. So the idea is, okay. Maybe let's start off with actually reading what we have to do for the query. Create a report that shows a list of positions. For each position, calculate the total number of current staff who hold or have held that position. Display a suitable report title, the name of the position, the surname of each staff member, the position start date, end date, the total number of staff. So what are they saying here? Okay, so they want a report, and they're saying for current staff, so excluding Peterson, everyone else, for current staff we want to see the number of staff that have served in each position or are serving in each position. Okay, so what we want to do on our query is to add as much as we can before we go to the report. So they want us to display the staff surname. Oops, that's B. They want us to display the name of the position. So we double click to add the name of the position. They want the surname of each staff member. We double click to add the surname of each staff member. They want the position start date and the end date. We'll also give it a bit of that. They want the total number of staff, so we need to calculate that ourselves. So we can count the number of staff reference, which is the same as counting the number of staff. So we click the magic button, totals, and we change this to count. Now, I'm going to rename this column to staff number. Okay. At this point, if you watch the videos how to complete Activity 3B, these are the basics. You should know by now how to rename your column when you're creating your queries. Okay. So currently, when we click run, your query does not include the specified expression. Okay, because I wanted this to be count. There we go. It shows us the position, the surname of each staff member, the position start date, end date, and the staff number. Why I renamed this to staff number, we're going to use it later when we move on to report. This is going to be very handy when we try to calculate the total number of staff. So we want to add the criteria that it only includes current staff. So current staff, those that do not have a staff end date. Okay, that's pretty simple enough. So design view, staff leaving date, and here the criteria should be is no, meaning the leaving date is empty, and if it's empty it means it's a current staff member. Okay, the results have now changed a bit. It has now excluded Peterson, whatever his name is. Yeah, okay, so we've added everything that we can on the query. We've put the name of the person, the surname of each person, the position start and end date, and the total number of staff. So what you now do, you close your query, you select your query without double clicking. If you double click it, you open your query. You want to select your query so it's highlighted like you can see on mine. If I select the table, it's highlighted like so. So you select your query so it's highlighted, then you go to create, then you're going to click report. So when you click report, it's going to create a report based it's going to create a template of a report based on what you did for the query. So when I click report, it now creates a template report based on what I did on the query. The same thing if I clicked staff details, the table, and now I click create, I click report to create a template report based on the staff details table. Okay, I'm hoping that makes sense. So we save the name of our report before we start messing around with it, because if we don't, we'll forget this important part to name our report using the naming convention RPT followed by the activity name, which is activity 3C. So we can now do this part, a suitable report title. A suitable report title based on the information being displayed in the report. So ultimately what this report is doing, it's showing the different positions in the company, and for each position it's showing how many staff members have held that position or are currently serving in that position. Okay, so we could call this staff position information, can't we? That's our report title. Done. So what we need to do, they want us to show for each position, calculate the total number of current staff who hold or have held that position. So for example, they want us to show on our report manager, then we show the name of each staff member that has held that position before we move on to office assistant. Does that make sense? So you go on report layout design, you click this button that reads group and sort. If it's not shown, I'll maximize my screen. You make sure you're in report layout design, you click group and sort. We're going to delete this box, we don't need this box. Now here, make sure that your report fits onto one page. Even if your report is perfect, the best report in the world, if it doesn't fit onto one page, you're not getting your marks, because they made it explicitly clear the report must fit on one page. Now access helps you here. These lines show anything that's going to overlap into another page. So I'm going to resize my fields like so. Everything is now fitting in one page. If I want to rename my columns, I can do. Okay, I'm not going to do that at this point. So we've added a group, we've gone to group and sort, we click add a group. So we want to group the information on our report based on the position name. So we click on position, voila. Now before it moves on to office assistant, it shows us the information for manager position, shows us the information for office assistant before moving to office manager, and so forth. This is what we want. Okay, so let me just move you along here. So there's nothing else that we're missing there, folks. Maybe I'll resize this column here. This is just taking up too much space unnecessarily at this point. So I'm going to move this down to make it look a bit neater, and then I can delete this. So whilst you're still on group and sort, you see this button that reads more. I want you to click that button. Then where it says without a footer section, toggle that arrow and select with a footer section. We want a footer section, I tell you that. Once you've done that, so you click on more, check it now reads with a footer section. If it still reads without a footer section, it means you didn't select with a footer section. Then go to the top here to go to design view, or you can use the other ways to go to design view here. So it's added a footer section for us. We need to drag it out to open the footer section. So we move our cursor in between page footer and position footer, then click and drag. Okay, so I'm going to add a text box and I'm going to label it total number of staff. Report design. I'll maximize my screen for this part. So we select text box, and the label is going to be total number of staff. So the idea is what the footer does for each position before moving to the details of the next position, it will show a footer section before moving to the next position. So here the first position was manager. So after it shows the staff details that have held the position of manager in the footer section, it will now indicate the total number of staff before showing the next position, which is office assistant. So total number of staff Okay, now do a bit of negotiating with Microsoft Access here. Okay, so currently if I go to report view, you see it's showing exactly what we want over here. Okay, now we just need to add the formula so it shows for vending machine operator there's been 3 members of staff. For office assistant there's been 2 members of staff. So we go back to design view. I'll go to layout view first. I'm going to get rid of these ones. Okay, we don't need them anymore. So we go back to report view. We don't need them anymore. So we go to design view, and inside this box that we created, we type in equals sum sum bracket staff underscore num closing bracket. Why did I put staff underscore num? Remember when we created the query, when I renamed the column counting the number of staff, I named it staff underscore num. So now I'm going to sum that number. So now when I go and report, done. That is it. That is all that you need to do for activity 3C for this example that we're working with. Does it meet the requirements? Well, I know it meets the requirements. So it says for each position calculate the total number of staff. Okay, for manager it shows us there's 1 staff member. For office assistant there's 2 staff members. Then it says display the name of the position. We've done that here. The surname of each staff member, it does it there. The position start and end date, it shows that information over there. And the total number of staff, which it does over here. Okay, so the last thing you to do here is just save your evidence for activity 3C. So if you watch the video on how to save your evidence for activity 3, you'll be okay. So we'll move on to the next example of activity 3C. We'll go to the, do I want to? It's okay, we'll be okay. We'll go to the January 2021 paper. Okay, so create a report that shows a list of galleries and their exhibitions. For each gallery, calculate the end date of each exhibition, the total number of exhibitions, the total number of days that exhibitions will run, display suitable report title, gallery name, start date, end date, total number of exhibitions for each gallery, the total number of days that exhibitions will run in each gallery. So they've got different galleries on this paper that we're looking at. So you've got Kingdom Works, Hosa and Bodega, New Brand House, Brand Arts, New Gallery, Decadent Furniture. So they want us to show for each gallery, like Kingdom Works, how many exhibitions are taking place in this gallery. What is the start date for each exhibition? What is the end date? How many days will each exhibition go on for? And for each gallery, what is the total number of exhibitions that will take place? What is the total duration and number of days that will take place for the exhibitions for each gallery? Okay, I spoke very fast there. Okay, so we'll get started. Create, query design. Save the name of the query before you start doing anything. Activity 3C. So we only need the figure 1 table. So we add the fields that we can. So we need to display the gallery name. We double click to add that there. The start date. We double click to add the start date. The end date. There is no end date. We need to calculate that ourselves. How do we calculate the end date? That one is, it's straightforward. So they give us the exhibition start date. So if we add the exhibition start date and the number of days, that will then give us the end date. Okay, that seems straightforward. So we name our column. I'm going to name it exp underscore end date because I'm too lazy to type in exhibition end date. Okay, in fact, before I name my column, I'll go to expression builder. So exp end date, and I'm going to do start date, delete the part that reads expr and all the arrows that come with it. So I'm going to do start date plus the number of days. Okay, and that's it. I click OK, I click on totals so I can let Access know that this is an expression before it tries to give me an error. Okay, so remember this error, whenever it mentions your query does not include as part of an aggregate function, it's saying in your expression you've added something in your expression that you've not added on your query. I've not added the number of days. I've added exhibition start date, but I've not added the number of days. Okay, I click run. Okay, there we go. We've got the end date now. So we've got the start date, we've got the end date. Now we need the total number of exhibitions for each gallery. So to count the number of exhibitions, we can count the number of exhibition IDs. Design view, we add exhibition ID, and I rename this to num of exhibitions. Okay, that's all I've done. No more exhibitions. I click on OK and I change this to count. At the moment it will show 1, which is perfectly fine. We're going to change this when we do the report. Then the last thing is to count the total number of days that exhibitions will run in each day. So I can use number of days here. I'm going to rename this column to total days. Okay, that's what I've renamed the column to, total days. And then I click on run. Okay, this is perfectly fine. So I've done everything I can on this query, so the last part will do that as a report. Okay, so we select our query, we go to create, and then we click report, which will create a template report for us based on the query that we did. Okay, I don't need this, I'll delete. So they indicated they want us to show information for each gallery. That means we need to add a group, and it's going to be grouped by the gallery name. There we go, already getting somewhere. Remove that there and we make it look a bit neater. So it shows us for each galleries. For example, brand arts, these are the different exhibitions. Whoops, these are the different exhibitions, the start date, how many days they'll go on for, and the number of exhibitions. Okay, so now we click on more here and select with a footer section. We go to design view. Whoops, I forgot here. We always rename the file before we start working with it. This should be named RPT. We add a suitable report title. So this is showing gallery information and the different exhibitions. So I could put gallery exhibition info. That's a suitable report title. So we go to design view, we open the gallery footer. I'm going to maximize my screen here. So let's see if this works. We go to report design, we add a text box. We're going to make this a bit bigger. It will make sense after a while. So this is going to be total number of exhibitions. So remember, this information will show in the footer section before it starts to show the information of the next gallery. So here I can type in equals sum num of exhibitions. Okay, I spelled exhibitions wrong when I created the name of my column. So this needs to be a capital S, and we need to close the bracket. Okay, so if we go on reports, okay, it's shown us total number of exhibitions 2. We've got 1 here, we've got 2 there, we've got 2 there. Okay, so the next thing we can do is indicate the total duration or the total number of days of exhibitions for each gallery. So we go back to design view. What am I talking about over here? The total number of days that exhibitions will run in each gallery. Okay, we'll create a new text box. It's completely fine. So total number of days. There we go. And here we can type in equals sum total days. And we go to report view. Okay, this is correct. 3 plus 3 equals 6. So I'm going to try and rename this column. Instead of total days, I'm going to rename this to duration. Hopefully this doesn't break things. Okay, it doesn't. And we save this. Okay. So it shows us for each gallery. So let me make sure it's fitting onto one page. It is, but I can reduce the size of some of these columns. Move that over here. There we go. And no, I don't need to make it that small because we've got a huge gap over here. I'm doing it so when I move it side by side that you'll be able to see everything. Right, is this report complete? Do we have a suitable report title? Yes, we do. Does it show for each gallery name? Yes, it does. Does it show the start and end date for each exhibition? Yes, it does. Does it indicate the total number of exhibitions for each gallery? Yes, it does over here. The total number of days that exhibitions will run in each gallery? It does that over here. Okay, the total number of days that will run for each exhibition? It shows that over here. So that would be complete for this report, for this example of activity 3C. I'll move on to the last example, which will be the June 2020 paper. Hopefully the idea is, as we're doing this, you're able to see that if you're comfortable with activity 3B, that actually activity 3C is quite easy. The most complicated part is just knowing how to use group and sort going into the footer, and the formula most of the time that you need to use is simply equals sum and then the name of the column, which you would have named when you did your query. Right, so this query create a report that shows the effect of having a 3% discount on the ticket price for tickets that have been sold. So remember, tickets that have been sold are tickets that do not have any empty records, that have full records, like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, so we'll get started. I'll explain the rest of the query and report instructions as we're going along. I've been doing this recording for quite some time and my voice needs a break. So we only need the figure 1 table. So we start with the easy part. We add what it wants us to display. It wants us to display the ticket type, the original ticket sales. So we're going to select ticket cost. We click the totals button and we click sum, and we're going to rename this column to original sales because it says original ticket sales here. So the potential discount, we click in here. We're going to go to builder, rename the column potential discount. So potential discount will be 3% of the original ticket sales. So I go to figure 1. No, I don't need to go to figure 1. In between the square brackets, I type in the name of the column that has information on the original ticket sales. So I named mine original sales. So it'll be original sales times 0.03. Okay. I know some of you must be wondering I didn't use a capital S. I did see that and I wanted to change that. I'll change this to expression and I'll click run. And this is what we have so far. This is not necessarily correct so far because we've not done this part where it's only including tickets that have been sold. So I want to make this a currency. So remember, to make it a currency, just go back into expression builder and wrap everything around inside the format currency function. And put a closing bracket to close the function. Okay, in Notepad, just showing you what I've done. That's all I've done. This is the name of my column. I've wrapped everything around inside the format currency function. I click on OK. We've got the currency going on. So what we can do now, so we can now allow it to indicate only to factor tickets that have been sold. So any ticket that does not have forename blank or empty, for example, or even surname, is an example of a ticket that has been sold. So we'll use surname. So we add surname, and on the criteria we type in is not null. Okay, do you see the problem we have now? Before we had surname, it was grouping things by ticket type, exactly what we wanted. So I'll remove surname to show you. So when you click run, this is what we want. We want it to show camping tickets. This is the original sales from camping tickets that were sold. However, when we add the criteria, so it's only factoring in tickets that have been sold, it's now not grouping the information. The fix is quite simple. So where we added surname, instead of group by, just change this to where. So surname where is not null. So basically where surname is not null. Yeah, where surname is not null. Where surname is not null, display all this other information. And there you go, it's now grouping the information, and you can now see the numbers have changed because it's now corrected it. So the last column is to calculate the discounted ticket sales. Mathematically, discounted ticket sales, it will be this column minus this column. That's straightforward. Click an empty row on your query, go to expression builder, name your column. So I'm going to name it discounted ticket sale, which will be square bracket original, because that's what I named my column that has information on the original sales, minus square bracket, I named mine potential discount. If you named yours something different, you need to type the name of your column. However, if you're comfortable with 3B, this should now be basics. Should be second wind at this point. Okay, there we go. And maybe the last thing we'll do is just wrap this around the format currency function. Like so. Okay. I'll put the closing bracket over there. I change this to expression and I click on run. Okay. So for our query, we've done everything that we needed to. It shows us the ticket type, camping Friday, Saturday, the original ticket sales over there, what the potential discount would have been, which is 3% over here, and the discounted ticket sales, which would have been original sales minus the potential discount. So we close the query now and create report. We click create, then we go on report. Now folks, let me save this first. So remember, your naming convention is RPT. Okay, I don't need this there. Now folks, For activity 3C, this is the easiest example from all the examples that I've shown you. Why am I saying this is the easiest example? Because that's it, we're done. We finished. The report shows exactly what they wanted us to show. Create a report that shows the effect of having a 3% discount on the ticket price for tickets that have been sold. So it shows the original income over here, original sales. The potential discount shows that over there, and the discounted ticket sales. And it's all fitting onto one page. We don't need to do group and sort, it's already grouped by the ticket type already. So all we'd be doing is just saving this as a PDF. So that's how you do activity 3C. Don't forget to watch the video on how to correctly save the evidence for activity 3, including activity 3A, 3B and 3C. Okay, catch you on the next one.